Katowice is departing from track 1 platform 2. Please stand away from the platform edge. We wish you a pleasant journey.
Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Simrail. The patch has dropped and it brought us some new toys to play with. We got 2 new electric multiple units. Basically they belong to the same family, but I will talk about that slightly later. Anyway, we got EN57 and EN71 electric multiple units. On top of that, the game engine has been updated. Developers introduced all 4 seasons that will change in multiplayer. The date is set to current date, so now you will be able to hopefully enjoy all those seasons. There is also a dynamic weather in multiplayer, so it should be in line with actual weather at the time in Poland. So if it's raining, then it should be raining in the game, etc, etc. So hopefully we will see that in upcoming days. There are 3 new signal boxes to play with. There is Dąbrowa Górnicza Ząbkowice, Łazy EUA, and Starzyny. I can't remember. Can't remember the third one, but there are 3 new signal boxes, so you can check that out. And that's pretty much it, is it? There are a few other changes. You can check the change log on Steam page of the game. Right, anyway, without any further ado, today we will be doing EN57 service from Zawiercie to Katowice. It is a single player scenario, so you can play it anytime you want. And it will give you a good practice on how to run EN57 in a tandem, because you will be running 2 EN57s all connected together. Right, anyway, without any further ado, let's hop into the game.
From Zawiercie to Katowice, begin with checking the radio connectivity with a dispatcher.
There we go. So, that's the beginning of the scenario. As you can see, this is our EN57, the front one and the rear one. We need to turn them on one by one, starting from the front one. If you start from the rear one, things won't quite work. It's probably some bug in the game, because in real life that would have worked. But yeah, in the game, unfortunately, you have to start from the front unit. So, at the beginning, you need to turn on the battery, and to do so, you need to get into the middle car of the unit, where the battery is located. So you are looking for the doors that look like this, and they have this tiny window. Don't get confused with the toilets, because toilets are also located in those doors compartments at the other end of that part. So you click on the door, you enable the battery, and then you click second time to unlock ground relay. There we go. Now, you need to go to the cabin. And there are a few things that we need to do. First of all, you activate the cabin, turn off the alerter, and then you raise the pantograph. So we want to raise back pantograph. There we go. We should soon see that on the voltmeter. There we go. The pantograph made contact with overhead wires. Now we will close the main switch, turn on converter, and then turn on the compressor. We can also power the radio and turn it on. We can turn destination board backlight, right headlamp, and instrument lighting. Okay, that should be it for now. Let's go back to passenger compartment. Let's exit through the front door. And now we need to do a few things in the second unit. So So let's head on there. Let's open the door. Let's enter through the cabin. Well, enter into the passenger compartment, and same story, we need to enable the battery and unlock ground relay. Now we are heading to the front cabin of this train. Let's enter. And here we need to do only two things. Most of the cabin is already set up for some reason. But what we need to do is to raise back pantograph, release manual brake, turn on the converter, oh, we might need to close the main switch and then turn on the converter. There we go. Now it's working. And let's make sure that the compressor is on. Now let's go back to passenger compartment. We can hear this engine running and converter effectively making noise, which is correct. Let's go to the rear cabin. Let's activate the cabin, turn on destination board backlight and left headlamp. Okay, that should be it for now. Now that the both trains are in operating condition, we can head on to the front cabin and perform shunt maneuver. So let's exit through the front door. Don't forget to close it. Now let's open this one. Don't forget to close it behind you. Okay, now we can sit down on our seat. We can turn on the radio,
665 radio check,
set the brakes to driving position, and release manual brake.
Zawiercie 4665 is ready.
Thank you. Wait for signal.
There we go. The signal is on. Now let's release the brakes. Now we can give a sound signal. And we can slowly move into the platforms. The speed limit on shunt signals is 25 kilometers per hour. Don't forget about the alerter. We can let it coast. Let's pull it closer to the signal. A touch on the brakes will bring the train to a stop. We do not open the door just yet. So first things first, let's set the train for normal drive. So let's turn on headlamps. Oops, I accidentally raised the front pantograph. We can lower it. Okay, let's get off our seat. We still got 3 minutes. So, we need to go to the rear unit. and turn on the marker lights. So, the marker lights should be turned on in the rearmost cabin. So let's enter the cabin. Now we turn off left headlamp and we turn on end signal left and right. We can deactivate the cabin. It's probably the wise thing to do. And now we can go back to our driver's seat, because that's pretty much everything that we had to do. Don't forget to close the doors behind you, because there might be no one else to do it for you. Okay, and with 1 minute left, we can sit down comfortably in our seat, set our camera. Perfect. This one doesn't have mirrors, unfortunately. And now we can wait for appropriate time. So exactly at 6 AM, we will open the door. Or, well, technically, to be more realistic, we can actually open them now. There we go. So the passengers are now boarding. We already got green signal.
Ready for departure.
Okay, we can give departure signal, release the brakes, and off we go. Okay, so as the train is speeding up, we can say a few words about the unit. So EN57 is a large family of electric multiple units. A grand total of 1,425 were built between 1961 and 1993. So there is a lot of these trains on Polish railways, or there used to be. They are much more scarce right now than they used to be in the past, like 10-15 years ago, but you can still find them running for some railways. And while it's not the best unit ever, to be honest, it has many flaws, and one of the flaws even earned this unit a nickname of Crapper, and it is because of where compressor inlet is being located, and that is very close to the toilet, which caused bad smells to be spread around the train, and that's why it earned itself a nickname of a crapper. So basically that's the story behind it. Anyway, that flaw was resolved in later editions of the train, because every, let's say, 2, maybe 150 units, there were some design changes to it. But for the most part, this unit remained exactly the same. Okay, we need to slow down to 40. There we go. That should do. Right, where was I? Yes, so that was the story behind the Crapper or Turbo Crapper nickname. Obviously this unit has different nicknames depending on the color scheme and basically depending on the livery. I believe one of the newest liveries, which is for Koleje Dolnośląskie, earned its nickname Endolino, which obviously sounds really funny. And it's basically a reference to Pendolino, or Polish version of Pendolino. So yeah, I really like that name. What else? It's a bare bone unit. Basically, the idea behind it is to build something that will act as a commuter train for local passengers, because people need to get to work and stuff like that. And back in 60s and 70s, there was a huge need for units like that. On top of that, because Poland was under like a communist control or socialist government, everything was central planned. Obviously there were shortages all over the board. You couldn't get materials and stuff like that. So Poland needed a unit that can be built domestically, and EN57 was a response to that need. And that's how it was born. Later on, following more needs to make EN57 a little bit stronger and deal better with hilly and mountainous terrain, it was upgraded to EN71 version. So that's the main difference. EN71 is longer and a little bit stronger, or handles inclines a little bit better. But we'll get to that later, or on other occasions. But basically that's the main difference between those two units. If you enter the cabin of both of them, they look very alike. And that's basically how those units are. Yeah, I guess that's the best description I can give you. There we go. Let's make sure to stop before the marker. Let's open the doors. We are already late. Oh no. Why am I not surprised? We can hear the compressor working.
Ready for departure.
There we go. We lost 5 points for departing behind the schedule. Which happens. We've been following the speed limits and that's all we can do with this unit. Exit the station is at 40 km/h, so we need to stick to that limit for now. And the next stop is Dąbrowa Górnicza, Ząbkowice. Also, we need to remember that this tandem is about 130 meters long, so if you want to judge when you can speed up, that's the length of this consist. There we go, that should be good enough. And off we go. We can pretty much drive it at top speed all the way to Dąbrowa Górnicza, Ząbkowice. Can we get there in 5 minutes? I doubt it. I don't think it takes only 5 minutes at that speed. And obviously, as you can see, this unit is struggling to get to the top speed. Green signal, fantastic. We do not stop there. We are now approaching another station. But we do not stop there. Yeah, we are just breaking 100. The top speed for this unit is 110 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 69 miles an hour. There we go, that's Khrushchev route. We are not stopping here. Remember to keep within the speed limits, and the speed limit for this unit is 110. So if you start to go over that, you need to make sure to let it coast for a while. Yeah, the timetable in this unit for this unit needs to change a little bit, because I think it's still designed for slightly greater speeds, and as you can see, this unit is struggling to even reach 110. Okay, we need to slow down to 100. We can now let it coast because we are stopping very soon. Okay, that was rather harsh braking, but we made it. This unit wasn't designed for comfort, so you have to remember that. It was supposed to be cheap and get people from place to place, nothing else.
65 ready for departure.
There we go. So now we are heading to Dąbrowa Górnicza Gołonuk. Radio 2, let's make sure to switch to radio 2. We are not stopping at this station, but we are stopping on the next one. Okay, here's the sign for the next station. There we go. A bit harsh braking, but again, as I said before, it's not built for comfort. And I have to say, we managed to
4665 ready for departure.
more or less catch up with There we go, we are back according to schedule. Okay, next stop Dąbrowa Górnicza. We are approaching 100-kilometer speed limit, so we can let it coast as our speed actually reached 100 or more or less. go. We can start slowing down as we are approaching Dąbrowa Górnicza platform. "60 kilometers per hour is appropriate speed." Pull it a little bit further, there we go. Okay, we stopped at the station. We are pretty much within the time limit. And ahead of us we can see the red signal.
Ready for departure.
4665 to Dąbrowa Górnicza. Requesting entry.
Exit will happen on subsidiary signal onto track number 1 due to malfunction.
There we go.
Understood.
We're gonna get substitute signal on exit. So let's get moving. We are limited to 20 kilometers per hour, but that is behind the signal. Okay. We will slow down closer to the signal because substitute signal lasts only for 90 seconds. So obviously we want to make the best use of our speed. I think the train will slow down on its own. There we go. Now we need to continue at 20 kilometers per hour all the way to Będzin-Zawera. Because that's where the first automatic block signal is located. So yeah, you can forget about being on time in this scenario. Although I believe that in order to make this mission doable, developers should measure the time and adjust the timetable to make it more realistic in terms of achievement purposes. Although, as long as you are not hunting for achievements, I can tell you it's not a scenario to try and make on-time achievement, because you can't do it. As you can see, the distance between Dąbrowa Górnicza and Będzin-Zawera allows you for... Oh, in fact, the times are incorrect. I just noticed that. See, so the scenario has some bugs. Because it expects us to get to Dąbrowa Górnicza after Będzin-Zawera. There we go, nice and slow. On top of that, this is a neutral section, so we shouldn't be adding any throttle. But of course, it doesn't appear that the game will let me do that. Oh, at a very slow speed, we can actually go through this neutral section. Well, thankfully they don't work in the game, so there is no risk of any malfunction related to driving through it. But for those who are very strict about their own driving techniques and speeds, you shouldn't be drawing power on neutral sections until you pass appropriate sign, which I just did. Okay, so that is Będzin Zawera. We need to roll into the platform. And I believe the first automatic block signal is just behind the platform. And that's when we will be able to speed up to speed limit, which is 110 kilometers per hour on this section of the tracks. Okay. That was a bit harsh. So we are 11 minutes late, but that's because of that substitute signal.
Ready for departure.
There we go. We have to remember that 20 kilometers per hour speed limit applies all the way until this semaphore. So don't get carried out when you depart from Będzin Zawera, and take it slow until you go past this semaphore with the front of your train, because that's the minimum that you need to make in order to be able to speed up without penalties. So the next stop is Będzin Miasto. that's the sign for it. We can let it coast. Now we can slowly start applying the brakes. There we go. That will do. Make sure to open the doors on the right side.
Ready for departure.
There we go. That was Będzin Miasto. Now we are heading to Będzin. Don't get too carried away while entering this station because the platform is very close. And it's also very short, so you have to remember that. The marker is just here. If you go past this stop marker, then obviously you will fail this station. So you need to be wary of that. There we go, we are just behind the schedule. Okay, exit at exit is at 100. Not that we are going to reach that speed. Okay, speed limit is 90 kilometers per hour. Remember that. On top of that, entry to the station is at 40 or 60, so we can actually slow down. If you don't know what the signal is, slow down to about 55, and when you can make up the signal, just apply extra brakes. So I'm currently doing about 50 kilometers per hour. It doesn't really help that the visibility of this signal is reduced. But in this unit, it's not a big problem, because the brakes are very responsive. There we go. We are doing about 35 kilometers per hour on a 40. So you can now set the throttle on second position, and that should keep you roughly below 40 kilometers per hour. Although still keep observing the speedometer, and if you go too quick, just drop the throttle to 0. There we go. You can open the doors. You need to watch out for this marker, because it's barely visible. I just saw it very close to my range, so don't enter this platform at too great speed, so that you can stop before the marker.
4665 ready for departure.
There we go. We got exit at 40 kilometers per hour. next stop is Katowice, Szopienice Południowe. So you need to remember that, because this is a tiny platform that comes before Katowice Zawiercie. Oh. For some reason the speed limit was applying a little bit longer than I anticipated. So try and remember about that. The speed limit on this station applies a little bit longer. Because yeah, my train should be way past the junctions. So it was my mistake. Which is easy to make. Okay, we are now approaching Katowice, Szopienice Południowe. Let's slightly reduce our speed. There we go. We are 8 minutes late. Isn't too bad. We could probably do it better with a little bit of practice, but for a first run, that's not too bad.
Ready for departure.
There we go. Now we are heading to Katowice Zawiercie. observe the speed limits. We are approaching 90. Okay, that was a little bit too much brakes. And there we go. And the signal already changed.
Ready for departure.
Brakes off. We are approaching 40 km/h speed limit. Okay. Just because the next semaphore will allow me to travel at 40, I'm not speeding up any further because it makes no sense. I would have to make a harsh braking in few hundred meters anyway. Technically you could speed up to as much as you can reach and start slowing down about now when you see those dashed markers, because that's your signal. And surely enough, it is showing 40. Don't get confused by that 70, because that is already 40. And it applies on every single track. So basically it's one of the pointless signs. There we go. We are almost at the platform. There we go, and that's the end of this scenario. It took us 1 hour, 9 minutes and 5 seconds, so it is more or less accurate with what's written on scenario description. Let's check my graph. I know we got speed limit violation here around...
ready for departure.
Yeah, we had speed limit violation near Sosnowiec. Obviously we were late pretty much throughout most of our journey. We managed to catch up at Dąbrowa Górnicza Gołonok, but that's about it. Apart from that, yeah, everything was good. I just need to remember and improve on this bit, which is exit from Sosnowiec Główny, where the speed limit carries on at 40 up until semaphore, while I managed to start speeding up a little bit quicker. Anyway, nevertheless, it was pretty good run. At least that's what I think about it. You can judge yourself. Right, chat. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to join my Discord server. Link is in description of the video. Bye bye.